Thanks for having me. Thanks a lot. Yes, it was indeed, it was a huge ride. But also I have to say that I have a fantastic co-founder. So I have a co-founder and a co-CEO who is really an expert and really a Chuck Norris in raising money, I have to say that. And we basically had more than 200 discussions with investors. So it was really a tough year because I think, yeah, as a especially fintech with doing lending, having loans in our books, it's not easy to find venture capital at the moment. And so it was really tough, but at the end we made it. So I'm super, super happy about this.
Miriam, it's Annette here in Frankfurt. Let me ask you about what actually made or were the key factors that investors made being convinced of your business idea?
So the key factors were that we, let's say, we decided at this time in the last couple of months that we go and talk to strategic investors, because we had the feeling that the classical VC capital investors did not really understand our business model so deeply, and they were really afraid, let's say, of investing into something that is that has a non-performing loans, that has loans on the balance sheet, and a company that, you know, it is highly regulated, the business that we're doing. So we started talking to banks directly and there we found a lot of interest, we found a lot of deep understanding, and really the need that they really said, okay, this is really something where we want to go to. And so I would say that the banks a bit fell in love with our technology, because it's a super easy, let's say, all online technology to give out loans, to handle loans, to do underwriting. And it's a great solution also for a corporation. So I think it's a good example how banks and fintechs can cooperate at the moment.
Would you say that this kind of cooperation will be most likely also the dominant way how to raise capital for the coming perhaps years, given what Jumana just said, the high interest rate environment and the reluctance of VC investors to spend money?
Yeah, it will probably, let's say, be dependent on the macroeconomic situation around us, if it will stabilize or not. And actually also about the interest rates. At the moment, VCs also have to pay a lot of money to raise money. So this is also, at the moment, it's not so attractive maybe. And therefore, I could imagine that there will be more strategic investors in the future, because there's also a lot of banks are under high pressure to do innovation. I think this is also something where when they compare themselves, especially with banks in the US or in Asia, that the European banks are not really the #1 innovators in the industry. And there is really a movement that is visible that banks in Europe want to change something. And I think also in the future, when you want to do innovation, you can't always do anything by yourself, because technology has become so complex. And so I think that you have, let's say, in the past, you had banks, they were really generalists, they did everything. But now you see more and more, let's say, institutions that say, okay, I will focus on my core, and the other things I will help myself with, and with the cooperation of fintechs, for example. Therefore, I think it could be a trend that we will see more banks going into, let's say, relationships with fintechs.